Hey there, bootstrappers. Good morning. This is Ryan Nickel coming at you with another day in the life of a bootstrap real estate investor. And sometimes as a bootstrapper, you got to change your game. You got to change your ways because the way you're doing it just isn't working anymore. And what I mean by that is not working because it's not working for you. It's not working because there's other people. Because as a bootstrapper by default, you're trying to save money. Look at this. I got this hair little whippy thing going on. That's what happens when you shower at the gym and don't pay attention to combing your hair after you get out of the shower. All right. So what do I mean by that? I used to go through closing attorneys. Actually, I did a few deals through a closing attorney because my mentor says, hey, doesn't hurt, a couple $100. It was like 600 and something bucks. I used a closing attorney in South Carolina and in Georgia. And then I did a deal. I'm like, I'm going to save $200. I'm going to save $600. I'm not going to make much money on this one anyway. So, save where I can kind of deal. And that's what I did. And then I moved out to California, and I'm like, title companies, it's different. There's a difference between a mortgage state and a title state. So here in a title state, we have title companies, escrow companies that are third-party, non-biased transactionists, whatever. They work the transaction. And let me see what's going to happen in this situation. Guy crossing the crosswalk. I'm sitting here, the dude's turning left, and now it's my turn to go. Right. So, in California, they're like, okay, I've looked into using a title company. In fact, I have a couple of deals that are still there, and they're subject to deals. And I run into the fact, subject to is I'm taking over the existing mortgage. I'm taking over the existing debt. And on that debt, there is a title insurance policy. And that title insurance, most people don't realize this, it's a lender's policy. It protects the lender's interest. And that's what it's there for. And so if you're going to go and you're going to sell the house conventionally, someone's going to get a mortgage, that lender wants to ensure that this person has, the right to title, but they're also ensuring that if they don't, that the lender's loan, the lender's portion of the loan, not you. So you might have bought the house for $200,000 but put $40,000 down. You're only getting a lender's policy for $160,000 for the loan face amount, so that the lender gets paid off in the event that there's something wrong with title. All right. So again, it goes towards the buyers, or towards the lenders. Doesn't protect you as the buyer, because if there's a title issue, you're like, well, hey, this is my house. Give me some money for this, and the title company's like, nah, see ya. We don't care about you. We care about the lenders. It's a huge game. And so I'm realizing, I'm like, I don't need to do this. And so when I pick up a property subject to, they're like, well, you need to pick up another title insurance policy. I'm like, I don't need to do anything with title insurance. I'll go through title so that I can show proper chain of title. That's all I have to do is show proper chain of title. And that's why I'm going through a title insurance, a title company. I don't have to insure that title. And they're like, well, yeah, you do. And so here's what happened. I had a house in July. I was doing a rent-to-own with the dude, and he decided he wanted to fix it up and sell it and make some profit on it, which, hey, that's what he wants to do. I had a deed, and the lender says, no, we don't recognize that deed. I'm like, what? I got it notarized here. It's completely notarized and everything. Like, no, we don't recognize it. You need to come into us and re-notarize that deed through us. And I'm like, this is total BS. But anyway, it's what I had to do. And then after that, I'm like, what do I need to do in the future to protect myself? They're like, well, come through us. I'm like, I'm not going to come through you. Basically, it was get the deed notarized, which we did, and recorded, which we did, but also get an affidavit. You got to get an affidavit that states that from the original seller to you, that states specifically in explicit terms, I am selling my house. I realize that Ryan has taken over the payments on my loan, and I am still responsible for my credit, and that he is doing all of these things. So guess what? I've already done that. I've always had an affidavit of understanding notarized. So I got a buddy of mine. So again, my business model, let me back up a little bit. My business model is that I'm keeping these properties long term. I rarely intend for someone to actually cash me outside. Then what? And stupid people get dumb $1 million contracts for stupid stuff. Anyway, so they cashed me out. Big deal. One person does it in 40 loans. And so I am, moving forward in my business with the same business model. These are long-term investments for me. I don't plan on being cashed out. These are going to go on forever and ever until they're paid off, and then I'm going to continue to do them. Now, with that being said, I got a buddy of mine. Now, he does flips. That's his business model. He doesn't do a lot of buy and holds. And so he's like, but hey, I can save some money on this flip by not having holding costs. I can do a subject to purchase and just pay the mortgage debt, just service the mortgage debt, and do the repairs, do what I need to do, and then turn around and I can sell it. And he's running into this problem. Now get this, all right? So I told him, I'm like, look, you need to have it recorded. You need to get an affidavit, which all of that he did. He is a real estate broker, and he is a notary as well. So, okay, but he did not notarize his own stuff. He hired somebody. He hired a mobile notary to do all of the paperwork, especially when the lady lives out of the area, man. She's like in Vacaville, and it's like 2 hours, 3 hours away from where he's at, up in North Chico. So anyway, all of this is happening, and he goes and someone wants to buy his house, and so he's at the title company, and the title company's like, we do not recognize that deed. He's like, what do you mean you don't recognize this deed? They're like, we do not recognize that deed. We are concerned that this might be a fraudulent deed. And he's like, a fraudulent deed? He's like, so you're accusing me of fraud. Not only are you accusing me of fraud, you're accusing me of conspiracy to commit a fraud, because I've enrolled the use of a notary. You're accusing me of mail fraud, because once the deed is recorded, which that in itself is a felony, but once that's recorded, it gets mailed back to me. So now it's a fraudulent instrument has been mailed to me. That's now mail fraud. So like there's several accounts of fraud and conspiracy to commit a fraud. All being thrown at this guy, but they're not saying like, hey, we know you committed the fraud. We're just like, oh, we're just concerned that there is. And he's like, well, what's the remedy? The remedy is have the borrower come on into one of our title companies or another reputable title company and have them sign the deed over to you. Then he's like, that's preposterous. Not only will that screw everything up, my deed is recorded, but also that will screw up my short-term capital gains tax. I guess he's had this for longer than a year. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. The title company, in other words, is basically all they're saying to him is, come through us or you don't get a deal. Give us money to do this, to prepare this deed and all these other things, or you're not going to get a deal. So, if you are doing long-term buy and holds with subject to purchases, you can think about how you want to hold title. For me personally, I'm probably not going to change that. It's not going to change. And look, I put my glasses on after I stop driving my car. You gotta love it. But if you're doing quick flips, or you don't intend to hold the property for very long, you might want to consider the cost of going through a title company when you're doing your subject to transactions, because you're just going to run into problems down the road. And so I'm considering changing my business model. However, for all the ones that I've done, do I go back? Do I change things? I don't know. So just a thought, but I want to go ahead and share that with you because that's the reality of the changing market that we're in. Title companies are becoming more and more strict on how and what and who they're going to go ahead and accept deeds from. So anyway, I'm Ryan Nickel coming at you. See y'all later.